I invite you to make this moment gentle. Settle into the surface that holds you. Let your limbs find a comfortable place. The room is quiet. The day loosens its grip. A soft hush settles around the windows and around the breath. Breathe slowly now. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Count the breath if it helps. 1, 2, 3. The chest rises. The chest falls. Each exhale releases a small knot of tension. Each inhale brings a little ease. The pace is unhurried. The night moves with a slow, steady rhythm. I sit beside you in spirit. A lamp sheds a warm circle of light. The pages of the Bible rest ready. The book feels familiar. It is a long friend for nights like this. I will read for us. I read not to argue or to press hard truths. I read to whisper peace into the places that ache. The voice is calm. The voice keeps a steady pace. The words roll gently, like a stream over smooth stones. Imagine the evening as a soft blanket laid across your shoulders. The weight is kind. It speaks of rest, not of burden. Picture the sky just beyond the curtains. Dull blues and muted golds remain where the day once brightened. Stars begin to open like small lamps. Each one is patient. Each one waits without hurry. Let the quiet of those lights remind you that a larger calm holds the hours. Allow your hands to soften. Let the jaw unclench. Loosen the places that hold tight. The shoulders drop a little lower. A tiny sigh escapes. That sound is permission to relax. No one asks for more right now. Nothing requires immediate fixing. The present is enough. I speak softly as I turn a page. The passage I choose carries a patient promise. It speaks of green pastures and still water in a way that does not demand proof. It invites faith like a hand extended across a small distance. It refuses to scold. It offers rest. As I speak the paraphrase, imagine walking through a field. The grass bends underfoot. A breeze carries the scent of earth and rain. There is no rush. The steps are slow. The path unwinds ahead without pressing. Mercy feels like this field. It meets the tired feet and eases the step. Mercy does not count mistakes tonight. Mercy knows the weight you carry and offers space to set it down. Hope sits here as a companion. It does not glare or shout. It speaks in a low voice and in calm gestures. Together, mercy and hope make a corner where fear can loosen its grip. If thoughts return images from the day, plans for tomorrow, acknowledge them with a soft nod. Do not follow. Let those thoughts be like guests who pass through a room without sitting long. Bring the attention back to breath. Bring the attention back to the small, steady light of the lamp and the soft turning of the page. The rhythm of reading becomes a gentle anchor. I read a sentence that comforts. It says that guidance comes even in darkness. It paints a picture of light placed at the feet, not necessarily as a spotlight on every step, but as a gentle glow for the next move. Trust does not always require seeing the whole path. It often asks for trust in the next small step. Rest in that simplicity. Trust the soft illumination for the now. Let the body sink a fraction deeper. Feel the mattress respond. Notice the weight of the blanket over the knees. The fabric is a small, secure world. Warmth gathers. The mind may try to measure progress with long lists. Let it rest from counting for a while. The heart breathes easier when not tallying every sorrow and every task. Rest gives room for mercy to breathe. I speak of a shepherd who walks with the weary. The shepherd's presence is steady. The steps match the pace of the slowest. There is a hands-on kindness in that image. No perfection is required to be tended. No achievement unlocks the care. The tending comes first. Comfort arrives before credentials. This idea sinks quietly into the places that ache. It reassures without harshness. It asks only to be received. Picture a small stream nearby. Water moves over pebbles with the softest sound. The ears lean into that murmur. Each droplet feels like a small promise kept. The sound is not loud. It is steady enough to carry over short worries. When the stream touches a dry patch of ground, the earth feeds again. So small promises revive small pieces of the spirit. Let them work slowly. Let them do their patient work tonight. If feelings of guilt or regret appear, breathe with them rather than away from them. Let them pass through the breath like a cloud drifting across the moon. They do not have to stay. They do not have to define the night. The reading does not condemn. It hands out a quiet assurance that wrong turns are met with patience and with an ongoing invitation to return. There is a steady willingness to guide gently back to the path. Mercy is not a loud proclamation here. It arrives in soft acts. A hand placed quietly over a shoulder. A word said simply. A presence that does not leave when the night feels long. Let that quiet form of mercy rest with the parts that tire. Allow hope to press a small warm palm against the forehead of worry. Hope does not erase pain. Instead, it keeps company with it. It promises more dawn. It promises steady care. I fold the reading into a slow cadence. The sentences are short. Each one settles like a small stone in a stream. The steady drip of meaning fills the spaces between anxious thoughts. The theology is simple in this hour. Nothing heavy. No debate. Only the simple facts that love holds and care continues. These words are an invitation to breathe with new gentleness. Place attention on the heart now. Picture it as a small room lit from within. The curtains are thin. Some light escapes into the night. The heart does not need to be fixed. It needs presence. Let warmth seat itself there. Presence acts like a low fire. It does not burn, but warms. It does not blare, but steadies the room. Sit with that warmth for a moment. Let it fill the small spaces where rest did not fit earlier. As the reading continues, the emphasis stays on mercy and on rest. There is no rush. There is no analysis, only the steady invitation to receive calm. Imagine a gentle hand setting down a basket of concerns. One by one, items rest inside. They are not ignored. They are simply placed where they will not be stepped on. The basket holds them safe, while sleep repairs the rest. If fears tug at the edges, name them quietly in your mind. Say the worry, then release it into the air like a leaf. Watch the leaf float, carried by the evening breeze. Do not grasp it. Let the breeze do its work. The night itself is a carrier. It moves things along without pressure. This small ritual of noticing and releasing makes space for mercy to enter. I read of guidance that feels less like a map and more like a companion walking beside. The companion watches for uneven stones. The companion offers steady hands when the path shifts. This company does not vanish when the terrain becomes unfamiliar. It walks through the dark fields and over low hills. The voice remains calm and patient. Trust grows one step at a time. Allow the shoulders to relax further. The jaw is soft now. The eyes feel heavy. The eyelids close when they are ready. Sleep is not a race. It arrives on its own schedule. The reading acts as a soft invitation. Sleep can take the time it needs. The body knows how to mend. The night is long enough to hold repair. Before the final page, breathe once more with intent. Inhale, a sense of peace. Exhale the rest of the day's noise. Let the breath lengthen. Let it slow. The heartbeat follows. The world outside the room continues in gentle motion. Nothing urgent reaches this small space. Now I read the closing line for tonight. Spoken not as command, but as comfort. The words remind that rest is allowed. Mercy waits. Hope keeps watch. The lamp's light is small, but it stays. The book rests with a soft cover. The hands that turn pages are steady and kind. When the reading stops, there is no sudden silence. The hush continues like a blanket that never quite folds. The story of mercy lingers. The promise of hope hums like a low note beneath the breath. Let that note be the last thing the mind holds for a while. I stay with you a short moment longer. The presence is quiet. The Bible closes with a soft thud. The warmth of the lamp remains like a small promise. The night receives us. The sleep that comes is not empty, but full of tender attention. Rest now. Let the evening do its work. The morning will come in its time. Gentle and new. I turn the page with care. The lamp keeps a small pool of light. The night leans close like a listening friend. I choose a passage that speaks of love. The verse sits simple and steady. I do not rush it. I read it slowly. In a quiet paraphrase that leaves room to breathe, the passage says that God loved the world. It does not speak in sharp claims. It speaks in a single, unhurried sentence. Love came first. Love looks like giving. Like a hand reaching out. The gift is not a tally of merits. It is a first move. Imagine a hand laying a blanket over shoulders that tremble. Imagine the small gesture that says, I saw you. I came. This love is broad. It covers the world. It does not pick favorite hours. Night and day. The reach continues. Picture a soft light that travels across a dark field. Not a harsh beam. A gentle wash that warms small places as it goes. The warmth is steady. It does not demand explanation. The simple fact of warmth calms the body. It calms the mind. The giving is the heart of the story. A gift arrives not to shame. A gift arrives to mend. Think of a small child with a scraped knee. The parent bends without counting fault. The action is immediate. The wound is met with care. The passage invites a similar response in our imagination. It asks for trust, like the child trusts a steady hand. When the verse says that life is offered, notice what that life feels like. It does not refer to distant certainties alone. It begins now. Life in this context tastes like peace in the middle of worry. It feels like a quiet companion who sits with a restless heart. It brings a certain ease to breath. The future is not stripped of mystery, but a new sense of presence changes the way the days move. Small freedoms appear. The sudden need to prove everything softens. Belief in the gentle telling looks less like acceptance of a list and more like leaning into a warm chair. It is a decision to rest into the assurance of being loved. This act of trust is not exciting fireworks. It is a slow settling. The shoulders lower. The neck loosens. The ribs have room to expand. The soul meets a steady gaze that holds without press. I read the passage again in my head. Quieter this time. The words are few. Each one seems to unfold like petals in a dark room, revealing a small, steady light at the center. There is no need for loud argument. The heart tends to recognize the shape of the gift. Recognition arrives softly, like noticing the smell of rain on dry earth. Love, as read tonight, includes a promise of belonging, not a membership card. More like a chair kept warm beside a fire. The offer remains even when tiredness makes the steps uneven. The place at the fire is not judged by performance. It waits in patient warmth. Let that image sit against the chest, like a quiet pulse. If resistance appears inside the listener, do not push it away with force. Allow the resistance to be part of the room. Name it quietly, in the mind. Watch it like a cloud passing a moon. The gift of love does not collapse under doubt. It holds space for questions and for quiet. The presence behind the words is not threatened by honest longing. As the reading continues, Imagine a harbour at dusk. Boats that appear battered still find mooring. A lighthouse does not measure the worth of each vessel. It only shines. Its duty is to guide. The lamp in the passage is similar. It is not a judge of distance. It is a signal of direction in soft tones. The sea calms as the light steadies. I pause between sentences. The silence is not empty. It is a small cushion that receives thought. Breathe into that silence. Feel the breath travel in slow arcs. The body follows the mind into ease. The room listens with the same patience as the words. In the hush, the story of love settles a few more layers of worry. Sometimes the mind wants to tally the past. It counts wrong, turns like stones along the roadside. Tonight, the reading suggests setting a few stones aside. Place them in a small bag. Carry them no further. The gift that is spoken of offers a different route. It is not an erasure of memory. It is a reordering, so that the next steps feel lighter. If sleep presses with its own questions, answer it with a soft practice. Name 3 small things that brought any ease today. They need not be large. A cup of warmth, a friendly voice, a brief pause when the sun felt kind. Hold them for a breath. Let them settle like tiny coins into a palm. The accumulation of small comforts builds a safe pocket to rest inside. The idea of being given life also includes being invited into a shared rhythm. It is not a solo march. It is a walk taken with companionship. The voice in the reading walks beside, not above. It notices the stones and pauses to help lift the load. The shared pace matters more than the speed. In that shared rhythm, the night loosens. This gentle teaching also invites community, alone and together. The heart learns to trust this care. If these evenings bring quietness to the hours, consider sharing them. A subtle suggestion now: subscribe. If the steady voice helps the nights, leave a small comment to say what comfort arrived. Share with a neighbor who might need a softer night. These acts are small threads. They weave a community that can keep watch for one another in quiet ways. I do not make demands. The invitation is calm. The channel that carries this reading aims to hold a safe space. Each new listener folds into the circle like another hand finding its place in a woven blanket. The blanket only grows warmer. The night feels less lonely when many rest within the same hush as the lamp ticks quietly. Remember that presence is not only for the good times, it shows up in small mercies during the long nights. It is the hand that carries a candle through a smoky room. It is the friend who sits without speaking when words fail. The passage points to a presence that envelops rather than judges. Let that truth be a soft anchor tonight. The reading moves toward a close. I slow further. Each sentence drops into the room like a feather. The voice keeps a pace that matches a lowering tide. The body follows. Limbs soften. Eyes drift. The small lamp is the only sound of light. Outside, the night pulls a deeper blue curtain. Before the page turns and the book rests, place one final thought in the mind. Picture a circle of light extending just beyond the bed. It is not blinding. It wraps gently. Inside that circle, the heart can breathe more freely. The circle is steady. It does not vanish when the eyelids close. It continues to hold while sleep repairs and dreams unfold. I close the Bible with deliberate softness. The cover meets the wood of the table with a quiet sound. The lamp stays lit a moment longer, like a friend bidding good night in slow steps. If rest comes, let it come. If it waits, let the waiting be gentle. Either way, the presence described in the reading keeps watch. Tonight's reading ends with a small assurance. Love is given. Life is offered. A place is kept at the fire. The hands that guide do so without counting faults. The circle of warmth surrounds the room and the heart. Rest in that company. Stay a moment in the hush. Breathe in, breathe out. When ready, let sleep take its time. I will be here again, with the Bible and a calm voice. For the next night, for now, accept the peace that falls quietly, and let the body and mind find their slow return to ease. I turn the page with a careful hand. The lamp keeps its small pool of light. The room holds a kind hush. Tonight, I choose a passage that pictures protection. The image is simple and close. It invites rest. The passage speaks of shelter beneath wings. It does not boast. It offers a soft metaphor. Picture the broad arc of a bird's wing. Imagine it lowering gently until it covers a small, shaking creature. The wing is not sharp. It is warm. It cups without crushing. That warmth is not loud. It is steady. Trust begins in small places. It begins with a choice to lean toward shelter. Trust is not a sudden confession. It is a slow turning. The body can follow this motion. The shoulders drop a little more. The chest opens by a fraction. Each breath meets less resistance. When life feels heavy, protection feels necessary. The protection pictured here is not armor that clangs. It is a refuge that muffles the storm. Think of a porch roof during rain. The drops hit and are heard. The porch keeps the person dry. The sound continues. The person rests. The storm remains outside. God's protection, as read tonight, functions like that porch. It does not mean trouble never comes. It means trouble does not land directly on the one who rests. There is distance. There is padding. The heart may still feel worry, but the worry no longer dictates every small motion. This protection grows from an earlier truth. Love is the foundation beneath the shelter. The roof stands because the foundation holds. If love is the deep stone underfoot, protection is the shelter built on that stone. When the mind grows faint, remembering the foundation steadies the steps. The shelter's beams are not fragile. They are set in the quiet strength of love. Think about a tree with deep roots. Wind bends its branches, but does not uproot the trunk. Those roots go deep into steady soil. They drink, even when rain is scarce. The trunk does not have to measure the wind. It stands because of what lies beneath. The spiritual journey feels like that tree. Love sinks roots. Protection rises as shelter above. When fatigue presses, recall a time of small kindness. A friend's coat offered on a cold night. A hand that steadied a misstep. These memories are gentle proof. They are little anchors. Let them do their work now. Place attention on one memory for a breath. Let warmth gather around the chest. I invite a brief exercise. Breathe in slowly. Picture a feather lowering. Breathe out slowly. Picture the feather settling on the shoulder and staying. Repeat this 3 times. Each inhale draws comfort nearer. Each exhale lets fear loosen its grip. The rhythm is unhurried. The body learns to accept the shelter. Doubts can arrive like late winds. They ask for reasons and proof. Meet them without force. Name the doubt softly in the mind. Watch it like a small cloud passing a lamp. The presence of shelter does not disappear because questions appear. The shelter holds even when the view is unclear. Protection often looks like practical care. It is the steady wall that keeps fire out and warmth in. It is help in low hours. It can be a quiet friend who listens without fixing. It can be the simple availability of a place to land. These are not grand scenes. They are the slow network of small mercies that make sleep possible. Think of a harbor at dusk. Boats come in, some with torn sails. The harbor does not demand perfect condition. It welcomes. The lighthouse keeps shining regardless of the vessel's shape. The harbor's duty is care. The duty does not end when night deepens. The presence keeps watch. In that same way, protection watches while the body repairs. When feelings of worthlessness creep in, return to the image of wings. Worth is not measured by tasks completed. Worth is recognized and sheltered. The shelter does not wait for qualifications. It offers refuge on first approach. That simple acceptance eases the compulsion to prove. Rest becomes possible. Tonight's reading includes a gentle phrase about faithfulness as shield. Faithfulness is like a steady hand at the small of the back. When a path tilts, it steadies without speaking. It removes the need for constant vigilance. In practical terms, faithfulness frees the mind from counting every risk. The artwork of care continues even when attention drifts. The path of spiritual growth often feels like steps taken in dim light. Protection provides a companion with a lamp. The companion does not map the entire route. It gives guidance for the next safe step. Each step taken in that guidance builds confidence. Over time, the pathway becomes less fearful. The walk grows more calm. If weariness arrives as a low ache, imagine the shelter closing gently around that ache. Visualize the wings tucking near the ribs. Breath grows slower. The heart finds less strain. There is no push to perform. The body is invited to repair. Allow the invitation to be accepted in small measures. Sometimes the mind insists on playing out worst-case scenes. When this happens, shift the focus to concrete senses. Feel the texture of a blanket. Notice the steadiness of the mattress beneath. Hear the soft hum of the room. These details anchor the present. Protection is practical as well as poetic. The grounded senses remind the mind that immediate safety exists. Protection and love together create space for vulnerability. In that space, healing moves quietly. There is room for tears and for silence. There is room for small laughter. The shelter keeps out unnecessary exposure. Inside, the heart learns to be less defensive. Vulnerability becomes safe enough to practice. As the reading continues, the pace stays slow. Short sentences rest in the air like stones in a placid creek. Each one settles. The steady cadence encourages the breath to match. Picture a nest warmed by careful feathers. Picture a tiny pulse of warmth traced by a parent's presence. Let that image slow the heartbeat. If worry asks for guarantees, offer a patient image instead. The promises read tonight function like a constant guard. They are not loud proclamations. They are a long, quiet watch. A watch that does not falter when eyes grow heavy. It does not demand proof from the sleeper. It simply guards while rest repairs. Consider a small ritual to carry forward. Each night before sleep, name one thing that felt safe during the day. It can be as small as a door closing without worry, or a warm cup that steadied a morning. Record it in the mind, like a small coin. Over time, the pocket of coins becomes a safe fund. When storms come, the pocket buys rest. Protection also encourages outreach. Being sheltered does not isolate. It prepares for gentle giving. When strength returns, a small act of kindness can be offered to another. That act is not a repayment. It is a natural overflow from having been held. The rhythm becomes give and receive. It softens the journey. I close this passage with a slow breath and a quiet image. Wings lower. A shelter is made. The foundation below is steady because love holds. The night may be long, the shelter remains. Rest finds a place to begin again. The book closes softly. The lamp keeps a whisper of light for a moment. If sleep arrives, let it do its work. If wakefulness lingers, return to the feather and the breath. The protection described tonight stays like a steady hand at the back of the neck, guiding steps and keeping watch. I will read again. The voice remains calm. The next page waits. For now, accept the shelter and the ease that follows. Allow the wings to fold around the small legs. Rest under their quiet strength. Sleep when it comes. When morning arrives, the foundation of love will still be there. Steady and sure, I turn the page like a careful hand smoothing a blanket. The lamp keeps a small pool of light. The room holds its hush. Tonight, I choose a passage about finding strength when everything feels fragile. I speak it in simple words, so the heart can take them in without hurry. The line I carry tonight says that grace is enough. It says that power often shows up where the body feels weakest. It sounds like a parent bending close. The parent does not scold the trembling hands. The parent lifts them, one by one, and teaches how to hold again. Imagine that closeness now. Picture a warm cheek near a forehead. Picture a hand that steadies a small back when the first steps wobble. Vulnerability is not a mark of failure here. It is the small door through which comfort enters. A child does not hide scraped knees to earn praise. The child shows a knee and is tended. The tending is not given because the child merits it. The tending comes because the child is known and loved. Let this truth settle under the ribs like a soft cushion. When weakness arrives, it often feels like a loud thing. It may clatter with fear and shame. The words read tonight turn that noise into a quieter sound. The clatter becomes a gentle knock. Someone comes to the door who knows how to fix doors. The hand that opens is patient and steady. It does not demand proof. It only asks permission to come in. Grace, in this telling, is not thin. It is a wide shawl folded and offered on cold shoulders. It is not merely meeting needs. It is change made gentle. The promise whispers that when strength runs low, another strength fills the space. That filling feels like a steady pulse at the small of the back when standing feels uncertain. It is a presence that braces without gripping. Think of a lantern in fog. The beam is not a thunderbolt. It is a patient light that finds the next step. The lantern does its work best when the hands are open, not clenched. Let the hands unclench now. Let the shoulders lower. Each inch of surrender invites the soft power to move in. There is a tenderness to this power. It does not assert dominance. It lifts the tired head, smooths hair, and stays through the night. Picture a parent watching sleep come. The breathing evens. Small muscles ease. The parent waits for the first long breath of rest before moving away. That watch becomes the template for how care works here. Care is most truthful when it remains through the long hours. I will offer a breathing practice to make room for this thought. Breathe in slowly and picture a warm hand resting on the chest. Breathe out slowly and imagine the hand pressing a little not to push away feeling, but to make a small space for ease. Repeat twice more. Each breath invites a deeper acceptance of receiving help. Each exhale loosens the need to prove anything. Weakness often carries fear that help will be conditional. The reading tonight answers with a steady image, a parent who keeps a chair warm by the hearth. The chair waits whether the child is tidy or messy. It simply waits. The waiting of grace is not a test. It is an invitation. There is also a humble dignity in smallness. Think of a cracked jar that now holds flowers. The crack does not ruin the jar. It becomes part of the jar's story, and part of the way light finds the blooms. Imagine sunlight slipping through a crack and turning a simple bloom luminous. Weakness allows light to pass. It makes room for something warmer and surprising. At times the mind wants to harden against vulnerability. It fashions armor from fear and busyness. That armor makes motion heavy. The passage suggests easing that armor off a little at a time. Begin with the shoulders. Let them fall. Let the neck relax. These small acts of disarming are not signs of surrender to harm. They are choices to rest into a safer strength that steadies rather than forces. If guilt arrives, let it be noticed like a small wind at the window. Do not speak harshly to it. Close the window a little and let it go. There is mercy in the reading that accepts the imperfect, tends the wounded, and keeps the vigil. Mercy does not compute merit. Merci remet présent. Mercy shields gently. Consider a parent teaching a child to swim. The child first clings to the edge. The parent slips an arm beneath small ribs and lets the water hold. The child does not have to command the pool. The pool becomes a teacher when supported. In the same way, confidence grows as support steadies the body. The support is not absent because motion slows. It is exactly what allows motion to return. This support also changes the meaning of rest. Rest is not only a reward for labor, it is an active place where strength is renewed. Imagine a pot on a quiet stove. Heat simmers under gentle attention. Strength is not hurried into being. It rises with warmth. Tonight, allow rest to be part of the work of repair. Let the breath be the tending flame. There is safety in saying aloud, quietly in the mind, one small truth: I am sheltered, even when I am weak. Say it once more in the next breath. The words themselves do not solve everything, but they reorient the heart toward receiving. Receiving is a practice. It must be learned in soft repetition. I speak now of shielding in vulnerability. Shielding here means protection that knows the tender places. It is not a blunt cover that hides the wounds. It is a careful bandage, wrapped with skill. The shield does not pretend wounds do not exist. It offers a close, careful attention that keeps out harm, while allowing healing to begin. When fear asks, how can weakness be good? Answer with an image of a lantern again. The beam is brightest when darkness is deepest. Power shows not by overpowering the darkness, but by revealing the next small step. The small steps, taken often, make a path over time. The journey does not require giant leaps every day. It requires a lantern and a steady hand. If sleep seems distant tonight, try a simple ritual. Lay one hand over the heart. breathe as if the palm is a small roof. Let thoughts that judge pass like leaves on a slow river. Each inhalation brings in a steadying presence. Each exhalation lets a leaf move further away. Keep this gentle rhythm until the shoulders soften. Community plays a quiet role in this grace. A parent's care often arrives through another hand. A neighbor brings soup. A friend sends a note. These small kindnesses are the web that carries strength to those who cannot produce it alone. If possible, allow receiving from others to be part of the rest. Let not pride close the hands when help is offered. This teaching asks for a patient habit. Do not expect a sudden change. Instead, gather small practices. Breathe with the lamp's light. Name one place of weakness. Hand it gently into the soft palm of care. Notice how the body moves once the hand is there. Notice how the mind relaxes a fraction. Over evenings, those fractions add together. I remind that strength made perfect in weakness is not a harsh rule. It is an invitation into a different economy. In this economy, smallness becomes an opening, not a trap. The night is long enough for such a reorientation. Let the gentle work of practice begin now. Close your eyes if that helps. I keep my voice low. The book rests in my lap. The lamp hums a steady note. If tears come, let them be quiet. They are not signs of failure, but of the heart unclenching. The hand that watches will not withdraw. It stays until breath smooths and the body settles. Before I close this page, take one last breath with me. Inhale warmth. Hold for a slow count of 2. Exhale fear like a small kite released. Feel the lamp's light like a soft palm on the back of the neck. The presence that offers grace is patient. The presence that offers strength waits through the weak hours. I close the Bible now, with a sound like a small cover settling. The lamp keeps a whisper of light for a moment longer. Sleep will come when it is ready. If it waits, keep returning to the breath and the image of the steady hand. Weakness will not be the end of the story. It will be the place where a different strength meets and holds. Rest now. Let the warmth and the watching remain. I will be here again to read. The lamp will be ready. The pages will turn slowly, like steps taken with a careful hand. For tonight, receive the shelter that turns weakness into a place of grace. Let sleep do its gentle work. I lift the book again and let the lamp keep its small circle of light. The page breathes under my fingers. The night listens. I choose a simpler promise tonight. The promise sounds like an invitation. It welcomes the tired, the burdened, the worn. It asks no parade of proofs. It reaches out to rest. I do not read exact words from the page. I offer the meaning in soft speech. The invitation is plain. It calls to those who carry heavy loads and to those who drag long days. It says, come and find rest for the soul. It says that rest is not earned by toil. It is offered. The tone is calm. The promise is near. Seek presence. The passage encourages. Seeking does not require traveling far. It can be a small turn of the heart, a step toward the lamp, a folding of hands, a quiet letting go. Presence is like a warm room opened after cold. It does not need explanation. The warmth is enough for the first step inside. Grace shows itself in simple ways. When strength thins, grace fills small spaces. When the voice falters, grace speaks in quiet patience. When plans crumble, grace hands a soft map for the next step. This sufficiency is not flashy. It is enough. It is steady. It arrives without calculation. Power shows up strangely, not by loud force, rather by gentle persistence. It meets weakness and turns it into a place of openness. The story goes that when muscles fail or when will runs dry, a greater power steadies what is slipping. The power often works through hands that wrap around a shoulder, through words that do not demand proof, through morning light that returns to a room. These are small signs, and they are enough. I tell a small story now. It is quiet and true. The memory sits like a warm stone in the palm. Some years ago, sleep left me for a season. The night stretched long. Thoughts grew sharp and restless. Worry took small hold at first. Then it widened. The stomach knotted. The breath sped. Days blurred into lists that never closed. Medicine eased some symptoms. Friends helped in practical ways. Yet the ache of unquiet remained. I tried discipline and routine. I tried busying the mind until the body fell asleep out of exhaustion. That kind of sleep is thin. It does not heal. One evening, a neighbor left a cup of tea on the step. No noche. No sermon. Just a warm cup. The gesture was simple. It felt like groze. The cup warmed my hands. The warmth trickled down past the chest. It did not solve the night, but it created a small, steady point. The heart slowly learned to anchor there. I began to come to the Bible at that hour, not to prove anything, but to let words set a new rhythm. I read slowly. I let the sentences breathe. I did not demand insight. I practiced receiving. I spoke short, honest lines in the quiet. I said to the night, not with loud claim, but with soft confession, that help was needed. I let the asking be small and true. In those hours, presence did not come all at once. It arrived in increments. The first break was a single long breath that felt like permission. Another night it was a slower pulse that eased the chest. Little by little, the body learned the language of rest again. The mind quieted by degrees. The heavy thoughts no longer threw themselves against the doors at every hour. The neighbor's cup of tea was not a cure. It was the first note in a new song. This was not a heroic recovery. It was a slow tending. Friends brought meals. A voice on the phone sat without rushing. A hand on the back during the worst waves said little and stayed long. These small acts were the practical shape of grace. They did not require dramatic proof. They did what grace does, they made room. I learned that weakness can be a doorway. When the world demands strength all the time, weakness feels like failure. But when weakness is allowed to be honest, it invites help. It opens hands that want to hold. It loosens pride that insists on doing everything alone. In that space, power appears not to overpower, but to steady. One night I stopped trying to force sleep. I set the small lamp and read a verse that asks the weary to come and rest. I did not quote the exact sentence. I let its sense enter like a tide. I breathed with the words. I named what I carried, and then I laid it down. Not as an act of clever faith, but as an act of small trust. The laying down felt like setting a basket gently on the floor. The basket did not disappear. It sat there, but the shoulders dropped, the jaw softened. There is a practice here that helps. It is simple and quiet. Sit or lie and breathe slowly. With each inhale, imagine drawing in a calm presence. With each exhale, imagine setting a single burden down. Naam a burden briefly. Let it go. Repeat. Do not worry about perfect faith. Only practice opening the hands. Over team. The night work became a pattern. The mind found new pathways. The body relearned how to rest. The change was not sudden. It was patient and plain. It felt like a friend who comes at dawn every day and sits down without fuss. That friend arrives and does not leave until the heart breathes steadier. Grace is sufficient in small things as well as big ones. A neighbor's tea, a friend's listening, a brief prayer muttered in the dark. These things, when gathered, become a net. They catch the falling pieces. They do not demand explanation. They simply hold. Power appears in weakness as a gentle undercurrent. It does not erase the struggle. It does not make the difficulty disappear like a bad dream. It changes what the struggle can do to a person. It makes space for healing. It allows for repair. It turns the raw edges into points where light can enter. Seeking presence is not an act of performance. It is a small motion of turning. It does not demand that the room be cleared of all doubt. Doubt is allowed here. Questions are part of the hearth. The invitation to come and rest is broad enough to include trembling and protest. It does not withdraw when the listener feels unsure. So tonight, try a tiny act. Name one tired thing in your chest. Speak it softly in your mind. Reach out with a small turn of attention toward the lamp and the book. Imagine setting the named burden down beside you. Leave it there. Breathe in presence. Breathe out a small surrender. Do this 2 or 3 times. The motion is not dramatic. It is a gentle rehearsal of trust. Community matters. 2. The neighbor's cup and the quiet friend made the path smoother. Do not shy from gentle asking. Let the circle widen. When the hand is offered, take it. Receiving is not a sign of failure. It is part of the way care moves. As I lower the Bible now, the lamp keeps its soft glow. The page rests. The night keeps its hush. The invitation remains on the table like a warm cup. Come and rest. Lay your burdens down for a time. Let the grace near you do its small work. I will read again tomorrow night. The voice will be slow and calm. The lamp will be waiting. For now, settle into the moment and allow the small acts of presence to do their work. Sleep if it comes. If it waits, return to the breath and the gentle laying down. Rest is offered. It is enough. I lift the book again and let the lamp keep its small circle of light. The room listens. My voice goes low. Tonight, I bring a simple, firm instruction from the page. It asks for kindness. It asks for tender hearts. It asks for forgiveness. The tone is gentle. The call is soft. I do not announce a test. I offer a practice. Forgiveness is presented as a way to lay burdens down. It is not a proud act. It is a quiet untying. Imagine a knot being loosened. Feel the small release as thread slides free. The body can follow this motion. The shoulders ease. The jaw unclenches. Begin hier. Breathe in slowly. Hold for a gentle count. Breathe out slowly. With that breath, picture one weight you carry. Name it once, quietly in the mind. It might be a hurt from another. It might be harsh words remembered. It might be something done and regretted. The name does not have to be long. A single word will do. Now picture a low table near the bed. Place the named burden on the table. Lay it down, as if setting down a small stone. The stone is not thrown. It is not hidden. It is simply set down. The act of setting down matters. It tells the body that the load need not be clutched through the night. The passage I read invites not only release, but the turning of the heart. Forgiveness here is active. It asks for kindness toward others. It asks for softness toward self. This is not a demand to forget. It is an invitation to stop carrying the weight as a steady identity. The heart is allowed to rest from that work. Imagine a shallow stream beside the path. The stream is calm. It can carry small stones. Each burden set on the table becomes a pebble. Take one pebble with care. Toss it into the stream. Notice the tiny ring of water where it lands. The ripple moves outward and then quiets. The pebble sinks. The surface smooths. The water keeps flowing. Forgiveness can feel like that river. It does not erase the memory of the pebble dropping. It removes the pebble from the hands. The hands are lighter. The chest has more room. The breath travels easier. These small changes matter. They allow sleep to come without the constant relifting of old weights. If the burden is toward another, imagine a gentle exchange. Picture the name of the person as a leaf held between two palms. The leaf is not crushed. It is turned. Examine it, and then released. Forgiving does not mean condoning something hurtful. It means choosing not to let the hurt become the one thing that defines every hour. The release frees the knotted parts of the mind. If the burden lies inward harsh judgment of self, bring the same care. Picture a cloth, warmed on a gentle stove. Fold it over the harsh place. Allow warmth to ease sharpness. Speak a single line in the mind, I let this go tonight. Say it once. Let the phrase be simple. The power is in the repetition, not in force. This passage also reminds that forgiveness was first received. The page points to a mercy given. Remembering being forgiven can make it easier to give forgiveness. Think back to a time when someone offered kindness without a tally. Let that memory be a small lamp. Hold it for a moment. Let the light settle where old stings still throb. A small guided practice may help. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Breathe in slowly. Picture the hands holding a small basket. Each item you place into the basket is a named burden. You do not hide the items. You do not toss them out of sight. You set them beside you, into a container already open. The basket sits on the floor by the bed. It is not heavy to carry, because carrying tonight is not required. Now imagine a door across the room. The door is simple wood. Open it with care. Carry the basket to the doorway. Leave it there on the threshold. You do not lock the door with harshness. You simply leave the basket where it can be tended in the morning. The night now has room. Forgiveness toward others sometimes staggers the heart. It may feel impossible. That is okay. Begin small. Forgiveness can be a choice to stop rehearsing hurt like a film. It can be a refusal to feed anger between breaths. Let forgiveness live in tiny motions. A softened memory, a prayer whispered for the other's good, a decision not to speak every sharp thought aloud. Each small act is a seed of rest. The text also asks for kindness to be practiced. Kindness moves before the world seems ready. It is a small light left on in the window. It is a phrase spoken calmly rather than heatedly. Practice kindness toward the self in small gestures. Pour a cup of warm water. Smooth the blanket. Speak to the tired parts with patience. These acts of care are practical forms of forgiveness. Forgiveness and rest are linked. A chest unburdened breathes more deeply. Sleep arrives without the continual tightening that a grudge demands. When the mind rehearses every offense, the body senses threat. Let the mind learn another script. The new script is short and soft. It says, I do not have to carry this now. I can set it down. I can sleep. Sometimes forgiveness needs a witness, not to prove it to anyone, but to make it real in the body. If it helps, place a hand on the heart. Feel the slow beat. Whisper a short phrase, I release this for tonight. Let the hands rest there. The warmth under the palm is a small confirmation that the letting is happening. It does not have to be loud. If anger resurfaces, do not be harsh with it. Notice it like a shadow at the corner of the room. Name the emotion. Allow it to pass through the breath. You do not need to feed it with reasons. You can watch it walk by, like a person leaving a bench. It may glance back. It may slow, but you keep breathing and you let it go. Forgiveness also reaches toward hope. When one forgives, a narrow corridor opens where new futures can begin. It does not promise immediate reconciliations. It promises a different present. The present becomes a place of more ease and less sharpness. That ease is fertile. In the morning, small actions can grow strong. If guilt clings, forgiveness extends inward. Picture a ledger with many entries. One by one, cross out small items. Do not pretend the ledger did not exist. Simply mark a few rows with an honest pen forgiven. Let go. The act of crossing out is a physical motion. Let it feel like drops of water loosening dried dirt. The hand that forgives can be the hand that is forgiven. Care for the body as part of this practice. Drink a little cool water. Ease the jaw by yawning gently. Let the belly soften. The breath becomes the bridge between the cognitive decision to forgive and the body's acceptance. Breathe with intention. Each inhale draws calm. Each exhale releases a named weight. Forgiveness also respects limits. It does not demand that trust be restored overnight. It allows for safety and space. Forgiveness is not a blind return. It is a steady motion to leave the burden behind as you rest. In the morning, boundaries can be examined. Tonight, the task is rest. Imagine again the table, the basket, the doorway. See the basket sitting by the door with the burdens inside. Hear the room breathe. The lamp makes a steady circle of light. The book lies closed for a moment. The words of kindness remain in the air like a gentle scent. I will offer a final small exercise before the book rests. Breathe in. Imagine a soft cloth. Lay it over the heart. Breathe out and feel the cloth absorb the heat of anger and regret. Breathe in and imagine a pale light filling the room. Breathe out and let the light carry the cloth and the basket toward the door. Watch them settle on the threshold. The sound is barely there. The movement is calm. The voice lowers. The lamp keeps a whisper of light. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means choosing not to carry the heavy stones through the night. It means making room for rest, for mercy, and for hope. The body follows the choice. The breath steadies. The eyelids soften. I close the Bible softly now. The cover meets the table with a muted sound. The presence of kindness lingers. The invitation to forgive remains like a small key on the nightstand. Keep it close. Use it again if needed. For tonight, let the burdens be where they belong, set down and tended. Let the heart rest. Stay with the breath a few slow times. Inhale calm. Exhale release. Sleep comes when it comes. When the morning arrives, the basket will still be at the door. The choice to pick it up then is gentle. For now, rest. Let forgiveness make room in the night. Let peace fill that room. I open the book a little more slowly tonight. The lamp keeps a soft circle on the page. The house is quiet. My voice moves in small, even steps. I read words that point to a particular kind of peace. The peace is not a tidy answer to every question. It is something that lives beside the questions and keeps watch. The passage I carry with me speaks of a peace that stands like a guard. It settles around the heart and the mind. It feels like a low wall built from rest. The wall is not heavy. It is steady. It does not demand proof before it does its work. It simply surrounds and holds. Imagine a small, private garden at the center of a busy city. Sounds come from the streets. Footsteps pass. Yet inside the garden, light falls differently. A few trees keep their leaves quiet. A low bench sits in the shade. The sounds of the city are heard, but they cannot reach the stillness in the middle. That is how this peace sits in the soul. Noise exists. The heart is not unaware. The soul, however, rests in a quieter place. I guide the breath as I read. Breathe in slowly. Count for 3. Hold one soft moment. Breathe out with even length. Let the exhale be slightly longer than the inhale. This rhythm invites the nervousness to unwind. The chest grows roomier. The mind moves slower. Each breath is a small entrance into calm. This peace comes like a hand laid over a steady heart. It does not erase the ages. It does not pretend the world is different. Instead, it changes the relationship to the aches. Pain and worry may press at the edges. The peace keeps them from collapsing the center. It is a protective hush, not denial. Part of the way this peace arrives is through forgiveness. The page directs toward that motion again. Forgiveness softens the tightness that holds anxiety in place. When one forgives another, the mind no longer rehearses the old hurt on repeat. When one forgives oneself, the night does not become a courtroom that never closes. Forgiveness clears space. It opens a small door into the garden. I remind myself gently of the call to forgive, in the same way I have been forgiven. This is not a sermon. It is a calm invitation to follow the example of receiving mercy and then offering it onward. Imagine that forgiveness first touched you as a warm cloak. It fit without demand. It did not ask for a long list of proofs. In similar fashion, letting go of an offense can be like setting the cloak back on a chair. You do not hide the bruise. You simply allow warmth to arrive where the cold has been. The night can make grievances feel larger than they are. Old voices replay with extra volume. The mind can make a small slight into a long list. When that happens, practice a small ritual. Sit very still. Place one hand gently on the chest. Feel the pulse under the palm. Speak one soft sentence inside. I will let this rest tonight. Do not force forgiveness into a sudden grand act. Let it begin as a small choice. The hand on the chest is a witness. It marks that a letting go has started. Peace also guards thought in practical ways. When worry circles, name the worry quietly. Say it once. Then fold that thought into a small imagined box. Close the lid. Place a soft ribbon around it. Set it on a shelf in the garden. The action is symbolic. It trains the mind to stop elevating every fear to an emergency. The peace does not require the mind to forget. It asks the mind to stop carrying the burden at every hour. The language I use is simple, because the hour asks for simplicity. The mind calms when words are short. The images stay clear. Picture a lake at dawn. The surface is usually restless during the day. At dawn, it lies glass smooth. Reflections appear without interruption. The wind may still blow on the shore. Storms may come later. In the present, the water rests. Let this picture be a small refuge. Return to it with each breath. Part of experiencing peace is letting divine forgiveness shape the heart. Remember that forgiveness came to us first. It arrived without our having earned it. The fact of being forgiven changes the logic of holding grudges. If warmth was freely given to us, then returning warmth becomes a natural motion, not always easy, not always instant, but it becomes easier to imagine. Forgiving oneself is often the tender work. People carry shame like a stone in the pocket. It weighs down motion. Tonight, practice an act of release. Imagine reaching into the pocket. Take the stone in the fingertips. Examine it without judgment. Say a single word of release in your mind. Lay the stone on the ground of the garden and walk away slowly. The stone remains where it is. The steps become lighter. Now breathe 3 times slowly with that image. Inhale calm. Exhale release. Each cycle loosens the grip. The chest finds room for gentler thoughts. The mind stops bouncing from worry to worry. Peace arrives, not as a grand event, but as a sequence of small surrenders. Chaos around does not have to mean chaos within. The world outside may be loud and unpredictable. The inner life can be steadier. Build simple habits that invite that steadiness. A nightly breath ritual, a phrase of surrender spoken softly, a small imagined putting down of burdens. These are the stones that, placed night after night, make a path into the center of the garden. When fear or anger rises in the night, meet it with curiosity rather than with combat. Ask, what is the shape of this feeling? Where in the body does it live? Give it a name. Then, with a deliberate breath, imagine opening and releasing the named tension. This small practice trains the body and the mind to receive peace rather than to keep battling through the dark. Peace also arrives as a presence that watches over thought like a gentle sentry. This guard keeps harmful loops from expanding. It notices instead of reacting. The practice is quiet attention. When a harsh thought appears, notice it. Let it pass along. The sentry does not shout. It simply ensures the thought does not become the whole night. Forgiveness into this sentry role is active. Letting go of a grievance means refusing to feed it with attention. It means choosing not to replay the scene when the lights are out. This choice does not erase real hurt. It simply refuses to let the hurt rule every hour. The heart can then breathe and allow gentle hope to return. I keep the reading soft. The voice is steady. The pages turn slowly. The imagery is small and specific. Noise may come through the walls. The mind may wander. Bring it back with a single soft breath. Acknowledge the wandering without scolding. Then invite the mind back to the centerpiece, the guarded garden of peace. Practice a short, gentle prayer in your head. If that helps, it need not be ornate. A simple letting go directed towards the one who gives rest is enough. Surrender the named worries to that presence. Ask for the capacity to forgive others as one has been forgiven. Ask for the grace to forgive oneself. These brief petitions anchor the heart where mercy moves. Remember, this peace does not erase memory. It reshapes the memory's power. A wound still exists. It may sting, but it no longer controls the doorway to the soul. The guard stands. The mind can sleep without relitigating every wrong. If sleep resists tonight, try a small movement practice. Trace the outline of your hands with the other one. Notice the texture of skin and nail. Move slowly. Feel the weight of each finger. The body's simple focus helps draw the mind away from spinning stories. Small sensory anchors like this steady attention and make rest more possible. As I bring the page to a close, let one last image rest in the mind. Picture the garden at night with a soft moon overhead. The garden is walled but not imprisoned. The gate is open. The guard sits at ease, not anxious, watchful but gentle. Inside, a lamp burns low. The air smells faintly of herbs. The heart beats with a calm rhythm. The mind is not frantic. It rests. I close the Bible softly. The sound is a low thud that belongs to the room. The lamp stays lit a moment longer. The invitation remains. Accept the peace that does not depend on removing every problem. Let the peace guard the heart and mind. Let forgiveness loosen the hands that carry burden. Let the breath fold the night into rest. I will read again soon. For now, rest in the guarded garden. Breathe slowly. Set down one worry. Forgive as you have been forgiven. Starting with yourself. Let peace find its place in the middle of the noise. Sleep when it comes. The watch is gentle and steady. The night will keep you safe for a time. I lift the book and let the lamp hold its small circle of light. The room remains quiet. My hands are steady. Tonight I bring a promise that has a gentle shape. It speaks of a plan that cares for more than the moment. I read it slowly. Not to prove, but to soothe. The promise is simple in tone. It says that there is a future woven with hope. It does not pretend the present has no ache. It offers a long view. Imagine a path that curves out of sight. The turn is not a reason to fear. It is a reason to walk with slightly less hurry. A hand rests on the back of the neck. The next step is visible. The rest of the road waits in patient light. When life feels like loose ends, the thought of order arriving later can be a small gift. Think of a pot on the stove. Ingredients sit beside it. They do not rush themselves into stew. A gentle flame and time bring them together. The result is warmer and more whole than the scattered parts. Accepting a plan is not giving up control. It is allowing slow work to do its quiet craft. I speak from a time when plans looked like broken lines. A season came when every outline I had made blurred. A move shifted the map. The safe rhythms changed. I remember standing in a room of packed boxes and not knowing which box held the small things that mattered. Anxiety made the heart quick. A neighbor's small kindness was again helpful, but something deeper shifted when I began to think of the change as part of a larger pattern. Not the last word. I began to look for the pattern, not to force it, but to notice how small pieces fit over time. Acceptance of a plan is not a single act. It is a steady practice. Start with a short breath. Inhale slowly. Count gently to 3. Hold one small beat. Exhale longer. Picture a map laid on a table. The edges curl. The map is not entirely clear. Yet a faint pencil line suggests a route. Take a moment to trace that line with a fingertip. You do not redraw the whole map. You touch it. The touch changes your posture. The shoulders soften. This promise about a hopeful future is paired with a kind of patience. Patience is not boredom. It is a posture that keeps the hands open. Imagine a gardener planting a seed. The planting is a committed motion. The gardener does not demand roots overnight. Watering and sun and time finish the work. Expecting immediate fruit often steals the small progress of the present. Let the slow work be enough tonight. If fear rises in the chest at the thought of unknown days, do not struggle to silence it sharply. Name the fear in the mind. Give it a simple title. Then imagine placing the fear on the map and drawing a small circle around it. The circle does not vanish the fear. It simply marks it for attention, not domination. Breathe, and notice how the body relaxes by a fraction. The idea of a plan means there is intention that reaches beyond random chaos. It does not guarantee the absence of storms. It suggests that storms are part of a larger narrative, where care continues. Picture a ship at sea guided by a steady star. The star does not calm every wave. It gives direction. On rough nights, the crew keeps watch, guided by the same light. The light's presence alone changes the feeling of the voyage. Accepting that there is a plan also changes small choices. It makes room for selective release. Not everything needs immediate repair. Some pains need tending later with careful hands. For now, set one small thing down. Choose something minor. You have been carrying a decision you have replayed. A slight that keeps returning. A worry about tomorrow's task. Place it gently on the bedside table in your imagination. Cover it with a cloth that breathes. Let the small act be the start of trusted letting. I invite a brief practice that fits the hour. Close the eyes if that feels right. Hold one hand over the heart. Feel the beat under the palm. Think of one small hope. You carry a repaired friendship, a healed habit, a clear morning. Picture the hope as a soft thread running into the night. With each exhale, feel that thread gain a little length. With each inhale, sense a quiet steadiness knitting around it. The motion is slow. It is enough. Remember that accepting a plan is not the same as resigning to passivity. It is an active trust. It looks like steady steps rather than frantic leaps. It means choosing small, faithful acts now because they line up with the larger story, even if that story remains partly hidden, like a person building a low wall stone by stone. Each careful placement matters. The wall grows in time. Sometimes the heart confuses control with safety. Control feels urgent because it creates a short-term illusion of order. Giving up control to accept a plan feels risky. The risk, however, can be contained by ritual. Each night, name one thing you will not try to control. Speak it softly in the mind and release it into the breath. Watch it settle like a leaf on water. The tiny ritual trains the nervous system to trust the plan's pacing. There is comfort in a promise that includes hope. Hope is not a distant wish. It is a small light kept near. Hold one small image of hope now. It might be a friend's laugh, a morning cup, a quiet phrase that steadies. Keep it in the mind like a candle. Let the candle burn low. Notice how its presence changes the tone of the room. Belief that a future holds hope also invites gratitude for steady things. Name 3 small things that did not change today. Keep the list brief. They may be small: a warm drink, a roof over the head, a clean sheet. These constants build a web that supports the larger plan. They are the small stories within the bigger narrative. If doubt presses, remember that plans unfold through a mixture of human movement and unexpected turns. The picture is not mechanical. It is relational. Think of a river finding its way around stones. The water does not stamp out obstacles. It moves. adapts, and keeps heading toward the sea. The presence behind the plan is not removed by detours. It accompanies the river as it bends. Accepting a plan also helps with endings. Not everything remains the same. Some chapters close to make room for others. Endings can feel heavy, yet endings can be a doorway. The garden that once produced this year's fruit may rest before producing again. Rest for the soil is part of fruitfulness. Consider the loss tonight with the gentle question, what does this ending make room for? Do not demand an answer. Let the opening be small and patient. As I read, I keep sentences short and the voice slow. That pace is a small practice of the plan itself. The rhythm tells the body that nothing will be demanded suddenly. The room listens and the breath follows. If thoughts wander to what must be fixed in the morning, tuck them into a small, imaginary envelope. Seal it with a simple phrase, tomorrow's work can wait. For now, the night attends to rest. Community plays a quiet role in accepting a plan. You are not meant to carry everything alone. A steady network of hands often holds the practical sides of a plan. Reach gently if it feels right. Ask small questions. Share a need. Let others be part of the unfolding. Giving and receiving become part of the plan's texture. I lower the voice further toward the page. Imagine a long road with a lamp every few yards. Each lamp is a small comfort. You do not see the entire road at once. You walk from lamp to lamp. Each step is honest and enough. Acceptance of a plan is walking from light to light. Now a final breath together. Inhale calm. Hold one quiet beat. Exhale slowly and let some tightness leave the chest. Feel the lamp's glow as a small assurance. Let the idea of a hopeful future settle like a cushion under the tired parts. Trust does not have to be loud. It can be a steady chair that waits when the rest of the house is busy. I close the Bible softly. The cover meets the table like a promise kept. The lamp lingers a moment. Sleep may come. If it waits, return to the breath. Return to the image of the map and the gentle tracing of the line. Let the acceptance of this plan be a small act of peace tonight. When morning comes, take the next step. For now, rest with the thought that a future of hope moves toward you. Quietly and sure, I settle into the same quiet corner. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The book rests open in my lap. My voice stays low. Tonight the passage I carry speaks of joy that grows from grace. It names a hope that does not make a loud claim. It offers a steady calm instead. The kind of joy I speak of is not the quick cheer of a momentary win. It is a deep warmth that begins in the chest and moves outward in slow waves. Think of a small ember that warms a hand. It does not burn bright like a flare. It gives steady heat. That steady heat is what belief often looks like when the mind is quiet and the heart accepts a promise. The heat keeps the cold from reaching the core. Belief. In this hour is a quiet practice. It is not a loud announcement. It is a slow turning toward trust. Trust asks for small acts. A single breath dedicated to hope. A brief naming of a promise. A hand laid over the heart. These small acts are gentle openings They let light in without startling the nerves. Imagine a seed under winter soil. The season above looks empty. Snow and cold seem absolute. Under the surface, the seed rests. Inside it, quiet processes keep moving. The first hint of spring is invisible at first. Then a tiny shoot finds its way toward the light. Hope is like that seed. Even when circumstances seem frozen, something small is working quietly toward new life. The promise gives the seed reason to stir. I remember a long week when plans frayed and fatigue felt like a second skin. The future looked flat and uncertain. The mind kept rehearsing worst-case scenes. Sleep came in small, bitter pieces. One evening, a short note arrived from someone who had not spoken in years. The note carried only a few words of simple care. The effect was surprising. It was like a small door opening inside the chest. Light moved in. The change was not dramatic. It was a steady spreading. That small kindness pulled my attention toward hope. It reminded the heart that goodness still exists and that promises of care are not empty. Joy, born of grace, behaves like that note. It need not be loud to be real. It starts small and grows. It changes how the night feels. A room that once felt heavy finds a pocket of ease. The breath lengthens. The shoulders let go. The mind no longer needs to rehearse every fear. Believing God's promises means trusting timing that stretches beyond one moment. Timing here is gentle. It asks patience. Patience is not passive waiting. It is a calm posture that keeps hands open. Picture a gardener watching young shoots. The gardener does not force growth. Care is steady. Water and light are given, and time does the rest. Trusting a promise feels similar. Take careful steps. Provide what can be provided. Then allow the slow work to unfold. A small practice helps that trust settle into the body. Close the eyes for a moment, if that feels safe. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold 1 soft beat. Breathe out for 6 counts. With each inhale, imagine drawing in a pale, warm light. With each exhale, imagine that light settling around a worry. Continue for 3 cycles. Notice how the light feels like an inner lamp. It keeps watch. It does not erase the ache. It makes the ache bearable. Joy and hope show up in ordinary things. A cup of warm water. A quiet morning laid. The sound of an old song at the right moment. The laughter of a child in another room. These small gifts are not distractions. They are signs. They point to a larger kindness that threads through life. When these moments are noticed and held for a breath, the shape of hope becomes easier to see. The Spirit's gentle presence often accompanies this kind of joy. The presence is like a soft pressure at the back of the neck that reminds the soul it is not alone. It does not shout instructions. It keeps a steady murmur that life can take another step. The murmur supports rather than drives. When the murmur is heeded, hope swells, confidence emerges, not as certainty about all things, but as a calm that enough is being gathered for the next day. If doubts press, name them gently. Say the worry once in the mind. Do not rehearse it like a sermon. place it on the bedside table of the imagination. Leave it there for tonight. Return to the light in the chest. Let the spirit's presence feel like a soft hand that rearranges the room to make space for rest. This small act of naming and setting down is not avoidance. It is a disciplined mercy. Gratitude practices quietly. Feed hope. Keep them simple. Name 3 small mercies from the day. They need not be grand. A steady roof. A brief kind word. A warm drink. Speak them once. Let each one sit like a small coin in the palm. Overnight, this collection of small coins becomes a safe fund. When the future seems thin, take 1 coin and let its memory warm the heart. Joy that comes this way often surprises by persisting. It does not require perfect circumstances. It grows alongside sorrow. The two can exist together. The presence of joy does not erase grief. Instead, it anchors grief so the body can breathe. Imagine grief as a river and joy as a calm bank where one can sit. The river flows. The bank holds. Both are real at the same time. Hope also changes how decisions are made. It loosens the grip of panic and allows for clearer choices. When fear demands immediate fixes, hope suggests a gentler course. It asks what small step can be taken now, what can be trusted to unfold in time. This shift from frantic control to patient motion often brings greater rest to the night. A brief ritual helps when sleep refuses to come. Sit or lie quietly. Place 1 hand over the heart. Whisper a short phrase in the mind. May hope find a place here. Hold it for 2 slow breaths. Picture a soft ribbon tying 1 small worry closed. Imagine the ribbon placed in a small drawer. Close the drawer. The motion need not be elaborate. It is a simple rehearsal of trust. Community supports hope in practical ways. A letter. Agup. A listening hour. These are threads in a net that holds a person when they wobble. Let the circle of care be part of the practice of hope. If asking feels hard, begin small. Send a short message. Make a brief call. Allow the net to gather you. Receiving help is not a failure. It is part of how promises are fulfilled in time. If the heart resists hope because of past disappointments, allow that resistance its place. Do not force cheer. Name the wound. Acknowledge it to the soft presence. Then, with 1 gentle breath, offer the wound a small space of mercy. Mercy does not erase a scar. It changes the story holding that scar. It says the scar is real, and you are still cared for. The promise of joy and peace is not a magic fix. It is a new lens through which the present is seen. That lens makes small good things more visible. It makes burdens lighter by dividing them into steps. It helps the night become a friend that repairs rather than an enemy to be battled. Before closing the book, take 3 slow breaths with me. Inhale a small hope. Hold it. Exhale the rest of the day's noise. Imagine that hope settling like a pillow at the back of the neck. Feel its gentle support. Let the chest soften. The lamp keeps its glow a few moments longer. The pages rest. The voice lowers with the pace of the breathing. If sleep comes now, let it do its steady work. If the mind lingers, return to the light in the chest. Return to the seed under the soil. Let the slow processes proceed. I will come back with the book and a calm voice. We will turn more pages together. For tonight, accept this small gift of joy born from grace. Let it hush the night's sharper edges. Let hope hold a steady place in the room and in the heart. The Bible closes softly. The lamp dims by a fraction. The hush remains like a gentle cloak. Rest now. Trust the promise's slow unfolding. Sleep when it comes. Tomorrow, the path will wait with lamps for the next steps. I come back to the room with the Bible in my lap. The lamp is steady. The night holds its hush. I speak in a voice that moves slowly, like breath through simple reeds. Settle now. Let the body make a small adjustment. Ease the shoulders. Soften the jaw. Let the feet rest. There is no hurry. The hour is patient. Before we go deeper, notice one small thing from today that felt like kindness. It may be a tiny thing. A shared smile. A moment when something went right for a minute. A pause that kept you from answering in haste. Hold that memory lightly. Let it sit in the palm of the mind like a small stone. Name it once. Say a single quiet word of thanks for that moment. The voice lives in the chest more than in sound now. Thankfulness is a small labor. It does not need ceremony. It is a simple nod toward what was given. Find a second small mercy. Maybe warmth of sun on the hand. Maybe a word that comforted. Maybe food that tasted good. Let the image come. Breathe with it. Notice where the memory sits in the body. Does the chest lift? Do the shoulders ease? Allow the body to register the good. Name the second moment aloud in the mind. Offer a soft thanks. The motion is brief. It feels like closing the lid on a jar of coins. The coins are there when needed. Now take a third gentle memory. It can be something soft, a quiet corner at lunch, a hand that steadied you, a silent prayer that felt answered, even if in a small way. Let the smallness be enough. The heart learns from many small mercies. They teach a patient pattern. Offer thanks for that third thing. Breathe once more with a trio of memories. Feel how they change the room inside the chest. Attention shifts. A warm thread weaves through the quieter places. Gratitude does not have to be loud. It is a light trimming the edges of worry. It does not remove the hard things of the day. It simply makes space where mercy has touched. Let that space widen a little with each breath. Now I hold a verse gently in mind that invites a particular posture. It is a quiet instruction. Be still and know. The line asks for a slowing. It asks the heart to listen rather than to prove. Tonight, the request is simple. Be still. Receive. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Let eiligt schuften. Focus on the rise and fall of the belly. Breathe in slowly. Count 4. Pause one small beat. Breathe out longer. Count 6. Keep the rhythm slow and even. Imagine a snowfall that falls without hurry. Each flake lands and stays. The world receives it without striving. The snow does not hurry the trees. It simply rests. Let your attention be that quiet place, Be present for the falling and the landing. Stillness is not empty. It is a listening. It makes a small room inside the chest where presence can speak. That presence is not loud. It comes near as a whisper of warmth, as a steadying glance, as a small hand at the back of the neck. Allow those subtle intimations to be enough. If thoughts move in, as they will, do not fret. Thoughts are like birds that come to a window. Watch them. Do not open the window to chase them. Let them perch a moment. Then fly. Return the attention to the breath. Each return trains the mind to rest more easily. I invite one gentle question to bring the listening to focus. What does the heart need tonight? Ask it softly. Without demand, the answer may be a single word. It may come as a feeling. It may not come at all. Stay present without forcing. If a word arrives, peace, rest, courage, gentleness, rest with it. Hold that word as you hold a small lamp in the hand. Let its light fall on the parts of the day that bruise. Let the light be practical. It may warm a memory. It may ease a tightness. Let it do its small work. Sometimes presence speaks in images rather than in words. A warm cup placed on a table, a path opening just wide enough for a single step, a bell that rings once and then stops. Watch for these images. When one settles, follow it for a few breaths. Let the image do the work of soothing. If nothing seems to arrive, the stillness itself is the gift. Waiting in quiet is not wasted. The silence gathers like soft fabric. It supports even when no bright answer comes. Be still. Let the stillness be companion enough for the hour. I also invite a short practice of listening with the body. Turn attention to the soles of the feet. Feel the contact with the floor or mattress. Notice the small points of pressure. Follow that awareness slowly up the legs. Soften the knees. Bring the notice to the belly. Feel the breath there. Move the awareness to the collarbones, the throat, the jaw. Let each place breathe. This body scan is not work. It is the plainest way to bring presence down into the hands and feet. When the attention reaches the chest, place one hand lightly over the heart. Feel its rise and fall beneath the palm. This is a quiet prayer in action. Hold it there for 3 slow breaths. Each inhale draws a small kindness inward. Each exhale lets a strain ease. Now fold the gratitude from earlier into the stillness. Mention the 3 mercy moments again in the hush. One by one. Allow the memories to meet the presence you sense in the room. Offer each memory a small thanks. Let the thanks land like a feather on the surface of the stillness. Gratitude and stillness work together. The first opens the heart. The second holds it steady. Together they make a small room where healing can begin. Mercy slips through into the places that are tight. Hope finds a softer place to rest. Be careful with the work of listening. Do not push for big answers. Small signs suffice. Maybe a thinning of the knot in the chest. Maybe a loosened jaw. Maybe a faint warmth on the cheek. These small changes are the language of presence. Take note. They mark movement. If memories of hurt surface as the quiet deepens, face them with gentleness. Give the hurt a name. Place it before the hand on the heart. Speak a soft line of truth. I lay this down for tonight. You do not have to fix all the hurts now. Night can hold and begin slow repair. Let breath be the trustee of these small acts. Breathe in calm. Breathe out a letting. The breath keeps faith with the slowing. It remembers the rhythm of safety. Return to it again and again. There will be moments when rest feels far. Do not judge the distance. Even watching rest feel distant is work. Notice the watching. Let the noticing be compassionate. Presence meets the watching too. It does not condemn the tired observer. It recognizes the fatigue and offers a place to settle as I sit with the Bible in my lap. I do not press you to say words aloud. The reading is not a test of piety. It is a soft invitation into being. Let this be the time to receive, rather than to prove. If you like, pick a single word that captures the small, need the hard names. Keep the word like a pebble in the mouth of the mind. When the mind grows sharp, hold the pebble. Let its weight steady the thought. Return to it with every distracted moment. The repetition is a gentle training. Now breathe slowly once again. Gather the 3 moments of grace in the mind. Hold the hand on the chest if that feels right. Say a silent thank you for these gifts. Let the sound of thanks be heard only in the quiet between breaths. When the stillness deepens, do not hurry the movement towards sleep. Let the present keep speaking. Listen for its small phrases of mercy. They may come as courage for tomorrow. They may come as a softness that eases the jaw. They may come simply as the steady knowledge that you are not alone. I close the page with a slow thumb. The book rests. The lamp keeps its halo a while longer. The hush is not ended. It continues like a tide that recedes slowly before the voice fades. One last small instruction. Keep the hand on the heart for the next few breaths. Let the palm be a witness. Feel how your body answers to calm when a human touch is given. If sleep comes, let it take the time it needs. If wakefulness stays, return to the breath and to the pebble word. I will be back to read again. The book waits on the table. The lamp will be ready. For now, accept the stillness. Receive the small mercies. Be still and allow the presence to speak softly into the quiet places of the heart. Rest, when it comes, will find you kinder and a little less hurried. I turn the page with a slow hand. The lamp still casts a soft halo. The room breathes in small. Avon waves. Tonight the text leans toward a single Get promise. It reaches to the shape of fear and offers a path through it. The tone is gentle. The aim is calm. The passage asks, simply do not be afraid. It does not pretend that fear never visits. Instead, it promises presence where fear lives. It says help comes. Strength arrives. A steady hand holds while steps feel unsure. Hear that promise as a small, close assurance. It is a soft fact you can hold tonight. Name a common fear in your mind. Keep the words short. Maybe it is the fear of the night. Maybe it is fear of tomorrow. Maybe it is the fear of failure, illness, or being alone. Say the name once. Giedli. Do not try to explain it. Simply notice it Naming loosens the grip enough for the next motion. Now breathe slowly. Inhale for 3 quiet counts. Hold the breath for a single gentle beat. Exhale for 4 counts. Picture the named fear as a small object. Place it on a low table beside the bed. Lay it down like a pebble. The pebble remains real. The hands are lighter. Fear of what tomorrow holds often feels like a shadow of many unknowns. In that shadow, the mind rehearses hard endings. Tonight, choose one small next step instead of trying to map the entire road. A single step is enough. Trust that a larger care attends the whole route. Think of a lamp ahead, not to show the entire path, but to make the next footfall steady. If the worry is about being alone, picture a hand at the back of the neck. It is steady and warm. It does not vanish. It simply stays through the night. That imagined touch is not a trick. It is a practice. Let the body accept the warmth for a few breaths. Let the shoulders soften. Let the jaw relax. Fear of failure tends to make the chest tight and the jaw clench. It sounds urgent inside the head. Tonight, reframe failure as a teacher that does not shout. It is a tutor who points to the next small lesson. Practice saying a short phrase in the mind, "I can try again tomorrow." Repeat it gently. The phrase is not a demand for bravery. It is a small permission to rest from the need to prove. If illness or loss sits heavy, recognize the ache without pushing it away. Place the feeling in a small cloth in the imagination. Hold the cloth to the chest for 2 slow breaths. The holding is not denial. It is a way to make space for comfort. Imagine a steady presence nearby that attends to this cloth. The presence does not fix instantly. It begins by staying. Fear often grows by itself in silence. It gathers like mist. That is why the reading points to faith as an active move. Faith here is a decision to turn the heart toward a known care. It is not a demand for proof. It is a small, repeated choice to look for the hand that will hold. Start with a tiny trust. It builds with each breath and each small practice. I invite a short exercise to practice the trust. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Place one hand on the chest. Feel the pulse beneath. Let the hand be a witness. Whisper in the mind, "I am not alone." Hold that thought for a slow count of 5. Let the body let out a small sigh. Each repetition trains the muscles to receive rather than to clutch. When night brings imagined dangers, use the senses to ground the mind. Feel the weight of the blanket. Note the sound of the lamp's faint hum. Breathe and listen to the air as it moves. These small facts are anchors. They help turn the mind away from the stories fear tells. The body notices what the mind names. Fear sometimes masks itself as a loud inner critic. It insists that something is missing or faulty. Meet that critic with a soft question instead of an argument. Ask, what truth does this fear need to hear tonight? Give the fear one simple answer. Make that answer short and kind. Let it sink slowly into the chest. The promise in the passage includes words about being upheld. Picture being gently lifted from beneath. Imagine hands at the rib cage, under the shoulders, that do not rush, but keep the body from tipping. Visualize the support as steady, warm, and unshakable. It is not performance-based. It is offered whether you feel worthy or not. Let the image be a real comfort for the next few breaths. There is a helpful habit to practice when fear knocks at midnight. Name the fear in one word. Offer it to the night as if it were a small package. Place the package on the threshold of the room. Close the door gently. Tell the package it will be tended in the morning. The night's job is rest. Let the task of fixing wait for daylight. Fear of change often grips because it removes the familiar pattern. The reading speaks to a steadiness beneath change. Think of a tree whose roots remain while the leaves shift through seasons. The root does not resist weather. It receives nourishment. Allow the thought of deep roots to accompany your sleep. Let the body settle into the patience of rootedness. For persistent anxieties, create a very small ritual before sleep. Write 3 short reassurances on a small slip of paper. Keep the wording simple. You are held. Help is near. 1 step now. Fold the paper and lay it under the pillow. The act is symbolic. Symbols teach the muscles to relax. Or a team. The ritual rewires quick panic into slower trust. Fear does not have to be banished, to be changed. It can be companioned. The reading invites not a command to never feel fear, but a reminder that fear does not get the final word. You can feel afraid and be kept at the same time. This twofold truth makes room for tenderness rather than harsh self-judgment. There is also kindness to be practiced toward the parts that fear. The mind that worries needs a quiet voice, not a sharp one. Speak to it gently. Tell it you will listen tomorrow. Promise to give it space then. For now, set a time of brief tending and return to the breath. This plan limits the mind's habit of replaying old worries all night. If images of worst-case outcomes appear, meet them with a small light. Imagine a candle near the image. The candle's flame does not deny the scene. It simply changes the lighting. The details are less sharp. The emotion softens. Turn attention to the candle for a few breaths. Let its light be a counterbalance to the mind's alarm. Remember that faith often acts like a tiny lamp. It does not reveal everything. It only shows the next step. Walking with that lamp is enough. Walk slowly. Keep the hands steady. If the path becomes steeper, ask for a hand to hold. If no hand is visible, imagine the steady warmth at the lower back that keeps you upright. End the hour with a short practice of releasing. Place both hands over the heart. Name one fear silently. Breathe in calm for 3 counts. Breathe out and imagine that fear melting like wax. Let the body respond to the motion. Repeat this 3 times. Each cycle loosens the tightness, enough for rest to take its place. If tears come, let them. They are not signs of failure. They are soft work that the body does. Allow them to fall without explanation. The presence that watches does not turn away. It stays through the small wetness and waits until the breath steadies again. When sleep finally approaches, bring one last image to the mind. Picture a broad horizon with gentle light. The horizon does not erase what happened today. It simply promises another morning. Trust that whatever is needed for that morning is not withheld. Hold that belief like a small cloak over the shoulders. I close the Bible slowly. The cover meets the table with a muted sound. The lamp keeps its halo a moment longer. The room remains a quiet harbor. Rest, now. Let the named fears sit on the threshold for a while. The hand that upholds does not vanish when the eyes close. It keeps its watch. Sleep when it comes. If wakefulness stays, return to the breath and the small rituals. Keep the hand on the heart for a few slow beats. Feel the pulse. Remember the gentle promise: you are not alone. You are steady enough for the next small step. Good night. The lamp keeps its circle of light. The room listens. I open the page with a steady hand. Tonight I bring a verse that asks for a single posture. It asks for gratefulness. I do not say the words exactly. I let the sense of them settle like a small stone in the palm. Give thanks in every moment. The sense says, not for show, not to prove. Simply give thanks. The line is not a demand. It is an invitation. It asks the heart to notice what is true. However small, notice then. Name gently. Breathe in slowly. Count 3. Hold. Breathe out longer. Let the breath anchor the voice and the thoughts. Gratitude begins in the small work of noticing. The breath is one of those small things. It comes without a ticket or a test. It comes steady. Again and again, let that fact sink in for a moment. I invite a quiet practice. Think of 3 small things that touch the day. They need not be grand. A warm mug, a word that did not sting, a brief kindness given or received. Picture each one. Hold it lightly in the mind like a feather. Do not push. Do not analyze. Let the feather rest. Say the first one in your head. Thank for it. Let the feeling of thanks be a tiny flame. Do not try to fan it into fireworks. The flame is enough. Let it warm the chest for one slow breath. Repeat for the second. Repeat for the third. The trio of small mercies gathers into a gentle light. Gratitude tunes the mind. It is a simple tuning, like tightening a string on an instrument, so it can sing true. When the heart learns to notice, the world stands in a slightly different relation. Hard things remain hard. They do not vanish. But the balance shifts. Small kindnesses come into clearer view. Hope finds a place to rest. Part of the reason for thanking in everything is to see the continuous care around us. Look for that care, as if it is a quiet workshop. The work is slow and often unseen. Hammers tap where needed. Threads are mended by careful hands. The lights are adjusted. The workshop keeps at its work whether anyone watches or not. Observe your own life like that workshop. A steady hand keeps your heart beating. A slow process fixes the smallest breaks inside you. Mornings return. Wounds knit in imperceptible ways. Neighbors, friends, strangers offer small mercies that look like tools left on a bench. Notice them. The recognition itself is part of the mending. I remember an evening when the furnace failed and the house cooled quickly. It felt urgent then. Practical hands came. Someone fixed a pipe. Someone fetched blankets. The help was not loud. It was steady and patient. Later, I sat with hands warmed by a cup and realized how many small repairs happen unseen. That night taught me to thank for the quiet builders. Not only for the finished repair. Pray, if that word helps, means to speak to the care that continues. A short, inward phrase is enough. I do not prescribe long speeches. A soft, thank you for this, whispered inside, will do. Let the words be simple. Let the voice be calm. The act of voicing gratitude trains the heart to notice when it is hard to find things to thank for. Begin with the basics. A roof, a cup of water, a clean sheet, a neighbor who smiled in passing. The list may feel too small. That is fine. Small is the point. When small things accumulate, they make a bed for larger hope to rest upon. Let gratitude be a lens, not a measure. Looking through gratitude does not deny pain. It simply widens the view. A painful evening does not stop being painful. It sits alongside a small, merciful thing. Both can be true. The room is large enough for both. Try another small practice now. Close the eyes if that helps. Breathe in and picture a thin thread of light at the chest. With the next breath, imagine that thread pulling through the day's small gifts. Each breath draws the thread longer. By the third breath, the thread becomes a simple line across the heart. It is a stitch. It holds the pieces together. Let that stitch be enough for the night. Gratitude also loosens the grip of bitterness. Bitterness keeps a tight ledger. It counts faults and replays them. Gratitude softens the ledger. It sets down coins of thanks next to the heavy stones of blame. The balance does not erase history. It simply changes what the hands carry into sleep. Do not moralize about how much to be thankful for. Avoid the temptation to compare lists. The practice is private and gentle. The point is not to produce proofs. The point is to let the heart recognize the continuing care that meets moments both small and large. The text I read points to a larger trust. When gratitude becomes habit, it trains the soul to notice the presence at work through days and nights. God's ongoing care shows in ordinary rhythms. Sunrise, return of the body's warmth, a friend who answers a message, the slow, steady return of strength after a difficult season. These are the continuing signatures of a work that does not quit. I speak now of how to lean into that observation. Once a week, keep a small list in the mind. Each night add one tiny mercy to it. It may be the taste of a warm meal or a brief quiet hour. When weeks pass, read the list quietly in the mind. Notice the pattern. A network of small gifts appears. The network looks like a net that holds you when storms come. Another practice follows naturally. When a blessing is remembered, pass it on. A short note, a small favor, a minute given to listen. Gratitude grows by being shared. These acts are not transactions. They are threads extended from the heart. When gratitude is offered, the giver and the receiver both breathe a little easier. Remember that gratitude is not an escape. It does not ask for forced cheer or abandonment of real grief. Instead, it makes space for both feeling and healing. A grief given the permission to exist can coexist with a small thank you for a friend's care. Both have their place in the night. There is a tenderness to thanking for things that are ordinary. Thanking for the morning, light is like bowing to the routine of care. It is a small nod to constancy. The habit of noticing ordinary constancy creates a steady faith, not flashy, not dramatic, quiet and dependable. If the mind resists, if the grief is too loud to hold a feather of thanks, begin with acceptance of the resistances. Notice that some nights the list is shorter. That is okay. The practice respects such nights. It does not force abundance where scarcity feels real. The discipline is gentle. It asks only for an honest breath and a single named thing. I often read these lines before sleep. The voice is slow. The room is still. The act of thanksgiving is like folding a blanket. Fold one corner, fold another. The motions are simple. By the time the blanket is set, the body feels held. There is also a truth about work that continues unseen. Nature repairs the world slowly. Seeds push through soil without applause. Bodies heal a little each day. The same kind of quiet work continues in the heart. A small mercy offered now may not look like much. Later, it becomes a foundation. Trust the slow work. Notice it in time by counting small mercies. Let me suggest a bedtime ritual that is short and steady. Lead on. Breathe slowly. Name one thing you are grateful for from the day. Let the name be simple. Thank for it. Let that gratitude sit like a stone on the bedside table of the imagination. Then name a second and a third. Breathe with each. Do not rush. The motion trains the heart to recognize care before sleep. If the night brings worries about tomorrow, take them in the same manner. Name the worry. Offer thanks for one small comfort that will meet the worry, perhaps a friend's willingness to listen. A plan already in place. A lamp that can be turned on. The practice keeps fears from becoming the only story the mind tells. Gratitude also feeds hope. When the heart collects small mercies, it learns that goodness is not merely possible, it is present. Hope grows slowly when it rests on a string of small facts of care. Notice how a single thankful breath can lighten the chest. Allow that lightness to expand. As I read these lines, I keep my voice soft. The words are brief and simple. They are meant to be easy to hold. If sleep comes, let it come. If wakefulness persists, return to the short practices. Breathe. Name 3 small things. Count them like quiet beads. Before I close the book, let one more image rest in the mind. Picture a quilt stitched from small squares. Each square is a single small blessing. The squares look modest alone. Together they make warmth. The quilt covers the body. It keeps the chill at bay. Gratitude makes that quilt, night after night. Stitch by stitch, the blanket grows. I close the Bible with the same careful motion as always. The cover rests on the table. The lamp holds its circle for a moment longer. The quiet fills the room like soft cotton. Let the gratitude quilt warm the chest tonight. Let the knowledge of continuous care be a calm presence at the back of the neck. Sleep when it comes. If it waits, return to the breath and to the small list. Remember that the work of kindness and repair does not stop. It runs like a slow river through days and nights. Give thanks. Receive the warmth. Rest in the steady, unseen hands that keep working. Good night. Shazan. Cultivating a spirit of patience. Galatians 6:9. I turn the page and let the light fall across the ink. The room keeps its hush. Tonight I settle on a verse that asks for patience and steady doing. The line says, "Do not grow weary in doing good." It promises a harvest in due time. Patience is not a single heroic act. It is a series of small returns. It looks like showing up again. It sounds like steady footsteps on the same path. It feels like a hand that keeps giving, not for applause, but because giving is the shape of the life. I remember someone whose life taught me this truth. She lived down the lane, quiet and unhurried. She had no title or notice. Her days had ordinary tasks. She folded clothing at the shelter. She left notes of encouragement in school bags. She checked on an elderly neighbor. No great projects announced her presence. Little things collected around her like a soft curtain. Years passed. The shelter had difficult seasons. Funding wavered. Volunteers came and went. Frustration sometimes pressed like a tight band. She kept coming. Some nights I watched her carry supplies in the lamplight. Her hands were small and sure. She did not broadcast results. She tended the present work, one small, faithful act at a time. A harvest came that felt almost accidental. A young woman who had lived at the shelter returned several years later. She came back, not empty-handed, but steady and kind. She sought out the volunteer who once folded things in silence. She offered help, not to repay, but to continue. Children who received a closed-list homework kit that year began to read aloud in the library. A neighbor's son, once shy and defensive, started tutoring younger kids after school. The effects were slow. They were not dramatic. They were honest. This is the kind of fruit patience grows. It is not always a single bright event. It is slow ripening. It spreads into small circles. Sometimes it becomes visible only when a new hand reaches to continue what was once started. The verse promises a harvest. The harvest may look like restored rhythms. It may look like a single life shifted toward health. It may be quiet, a neighbor renewed, a child who learns to trust, a pattern of kindness that finally becomes strong enough to change a street. Patience requires a certain freedom from the need for instant results. That freedom does not mean apathy. It means an orientation toward long work. It asks for persistence when outcomes remain unclear. It asks for faith that action matters even when evidence is thin. I offer a small practice for these nights. Breathe in for 4 counts. Picture a small seed in the palm of the mind. Hold for 1 soft beat. Breathe out for 6 counts. With each cycle, see the seed sink a tiny fraction deeper into the soil. The motion is slow. It teaches how a seed trusts the dark and the slow pull of roots. Another image helps. Imagine an old gardener who plants bulbs in the fall. Snow comes. The gardener does nothing dramatic in winter, only routine a watchful eye, a small clearing of debris in scarcer light. Spring arrives and shoots break the earth. The gardener does not take credit for the miracle. The work was patient tending, done in seasons of little reward. The first crocus looks like a quiet answer to a long, faithful practice. If discouragement press, name it gently. Say one soft sentence, I will not give up tonight. That line is a small vow. It is not a loud promise. It is a quiet refusal to quit. Repeat it with the breath. Let the body feel the vow as a steadying. The shoulders soften. The jaw loosens. The heart leans toward a patient posture. Patience also grows in community. The one who keeps showing up is often buoyed by another who believes the work matters. A friend who brings soup. A neighbor who listens. A small team of hands. These are the supports that keep persistence from becoming mere stubbornness. When others share the load, the work stretches farther. Remember that patience is not indifferent to injustice. It is not a quiet acceptance of harm. It is a steady response that continues to sow what is right, while also seeking restoration. The patient heart acts in ways that protect the vulnerable and rebuild what was broken. That kind of endurance requires discernment as well as steadfastness. Tonight, practice small acts with patient intent. Choose one gentle thing to do tomorrow that will not demand immediate reward. A short note, a small kindness, a brief phone call. Let the act be its own reward. The habit of regular good works, practiced day after day, prepares the soil for a harvest that arrives in God's timing. Hold the story of the quiet volunteer in mind. Let it stand as a little lamp. The lamp reminds that a life of many small offerings can change a neighborhood. It reminds that a quiet faithfulness matters. When impatience knocks, return to the lamp and to the image of the seed sinking into deeper earth. As the page rests, breathe again. Inhale the willingness to stay. Exhale a soft release of need for control. Let the chest accept the slow work. The night keeps watch. The promise of a harvest waits in gentle timing. Shisu, releasing control and resting in trust. I turn the page and slow further. The lamp makes a warm pool of light. The words I carry now invite, releasing what squeezes the chest. They ask for a letting go that is calm and practical. Control can feel like a lifeline. It is the mind's attempt to keep danger at bay, yet clench too tight and the hands tire. Releasing is not surrender to chaos. It is an honest choice to stop carrying everything at once. I begin with breath. Breathe in for 4 counts. Place one hand over the heart. Breathe out for 6. Feel the warmth under that palm. This small contact is a way of telling the body it can relax some of the vigilance held there. Imagine a traveler carrying a heavy satchel. The bag holds plans, worries, lists, postmistakis. The traveler walks slowly. Each step is careful, because the satchel burdens every movement. Now picture a bench by the roadside. The traveler sets the satchel down. It does not disappear. It sits on the bench, cared for and not forgotten. The traveler takes a deep breath and rests. The setting down is an act of trust that the road will still be there when the rest ends. This is a practical image for releasing. Name one worry you have been carrying. Keep the name short. Place it mentally into a small basket by your side. Imagine laying the worry in without theatrics. It is not denial. It is an intentional reprieve. You are saying, I will look at this again tomorrow with clearer eyes. For now, the night will tend repair. There is a simple ritual to use nightly. Make a box or basket in the mind. Label it tomorrow's work. Place items into it, decisions that can wait, small anxieties. The urge to solve everything at once. Close the lid. Breathe. Picture the box resting near the door. Leave it there. The act is symbolic, but it trains the nervous system to stop rehearsing the same scripts through the night. Trust does not mean passive hope. It is a gentle, active stance. It looks like setting an intention and then moving into rest. It might mean preparing a simple plan for the morning and then intentionally refusing to replay the plan until daylight. That limited attention keeps worry from invading the night. I remember nights when lists kept racing. The mind felt like a wheel spinning. A small change helped. A neighbor once suggested writing down 3 very small next actions and then folding the paper under a glass on the nightstand. The physical act made a big difference. The mind could see the tasks, but the body received permission to stop turning them over. The paper remained, so did the peace. If control comes from fear of outcomes, focus instead on the next small step. A single step requires far less energy than solving the entire future. Ask what can be done in the next hour. Answer the question with a practical, tiny motion. Do it. Then let the next hour keep its own time. Releasing also touches on relationships. Sometimes trying to micromanage others comes from a fear of loss. The gentle work tonight is to hand another person's space back to them. Offer a short prayer for their good. Then set down the need to direct. Trust that others carry their own paths. Just as the volunteer trusted a young woman to grow and later return help. Let go of the urge to control the outcome of every friendship. There is mercy in releasing. Giving up the constant need to fix opens hands for tenderness. Hands that do not clutch are available to hold. Where control tightens the chest, release loosens the jaw. Tenderness arrives in the freed space. Practice one more breathing exercise. Inhale and imagine drawing a pale, gentle rope from the chest. Exhale and visualize placing the rope into a box of trust. Repeat 3 times. Each cycle is a tangible image of surrendering small things into a safer keeping. The body responds. The shoulders drop. The jaw fades from quick tension. If strong anxiety stubbornly remains, keep a small routine. Turn on a lamp. Read a page. Speak one simple sentence of trust in the mind. The sentence need not be grand. It can be a short allowance. I will let this be for now. Repeat it until the body accepts the permission. Releasing is not a one-time act. It becomes a habit. Start small. Let nightly rituals build muscle memory. Over weeks, the tendency to clutch loosens. The night becomes a place of gathering strength, rather than a battleground of plans. End with a soft image. Picture a bird resting on a branch. It does not hold the wind. It rides the breeze. It perches and watches the sky. The bird's trust is quiet and brave. Take its posture for a few breaths. Let the chest rise and fall with the freedom of not needing to grip the gusts. I close the book with a slow, gentle motion. The lamp remains a steady watch. The pages settle. The hands that read will be back tomorrow. For now, set down the satchel. Leave the box by the door. Rest in the small comfort that some things can wait until morning. Sleep when it comes. The night keeps what was placed there with quiet care. Good night. Chasseux. Embracing Trust Proverbs 3:5-6. I turn the page again with a slow, careful thumb. The lamp keeps its circle of light. The room breathes with the same soft rhythm. Tonight I hold a verse that asks for trust in a way that feels close and practical. It asks to lean rather than to clutch. Trust can feel risky. It asks for an open hand where a clenched fist once felt safe. The mind says better to plan, better to check, better to hold every rope taut. The spirit answers with a softer call. Let go a little. Take a step that is not measured by how secure the whole road seems. I do not recite exact words. I offer the sense trust, the steady care that guides even when the map is unclear. Trust with the heart, not only with the checklist. Trust by turning the face toward the light that moves with the feet. The idea is gentle. It is practical. There is a story here. It is quiet and true. Years ago, I held control like a coin pressed into the palm. Plans were precise. Lists multiplied. Rest felt like a thing to earn. A small change in the life shifted the ground beneath the feet. A job moved. A relationship altered. A child grew in unexpected directions. The coin began to feel heavier. The first nights were long. The mind ran rehearsals of what might go wrong. The hands tightened to prepare for rescue. Sleep left shallow tracks on the cheeks. Practical fixes helped for a time. A clear calendar. A spoken plan. A pantry restocked. Yet worry found new ways to grow. A neighbor once suggested a small exercise. It sounded too simple to work. She asked me to write the 3 smallest, next most needed actions, and then fold the paper once and tuck it under a small glass on the nightstand. Seeing the tasks contained in that physical way made something shift. The hands could relax enough to rest. So I began to practice letting go in little ways. The nightly folding became a ritual. The paper did not remove responsibility. It simply set aside the need to run the whole day in the dark hours. The habit trained the muscles to accept a pause. Breath grew deeper. The chest eased. Slowly, trust moved in like dawn. The first true change was not dramatic. It came as a single long sigh in the middle of the night. The body allowed a full exhale. That sigh was a small proof that the mind could rest while not having everything in view. Overtime. The habit of setting things down became a habit of believing that hands beyond my own do not vanish when the eyes close. Trust, as I practice it, is concrete. It asks for small acts. Tonight's practice is one of them. Breathe in for 4 slow counts. Let the breath find the hollow of the stomach. Place one hand over the heart. Feel the warm press. Breathe out for 6. With the out-breath, name one small worry. Keep the name short. Place that worry on a low table in the mind. Lay it down like a pebble. Close the fingers over it. Not to hide it, but to give it a place to wait. Now imagine a gentle presence by the table. It does not grab the pebble away. It simply rests a hand near it. The presence watches the pebble so the hands that carried it can relax. Repeat this 3 times. Each repetition loosens the grip a fraction more. Trust grows when given room to grow. That room is formed by small rituals. A basket labeled tomorrow's work. A folded paper under glass. A short note to a friend saying, "I need help tomorrow." The acts are not grand. They are practical and quiet. They teach the nervous system that the world will still be there when morning comes. There are nights when fear returns with a fresh face. Old habits are stubborn. When panic knocks, I remind myself of one simple truth. Doing the next small thing is enough. For now, the soul does not need to carry every outcome. The immediate step is a faithful step. The rest can wait until daylight. Practice the step. Then let the step be enough until the next. Trust is also communal. The story of being held often moves through other hands. The neighbor with tea, the friend who listens, the person who shows up with a coat. Accepting their help is part of trusting. It is not weakness. It is a recognition that life is shared. Let the habit of receiving small kindnesses be a nightly discipline. When the hands are open, others have room to give. There is tenderness in this trust. It is not a rough, shouting courage. It is a quiet bravery. The bravery is in letting go of the tight plan and saying, "I will step forward when I can, and I will rest when needed." The night can hold both movement and repair. If the mind asks for proof, give it a small, concrete demonstration. Make a short list before bed. 3 tiny tasks for the morning. Fold the list. Put it under the glass. Breathe. The body notices the visible plan and accepts the pause. The mind may still reach for the satchel of plans. Gently return the attention to the lamp's pool. Keep breathing. Trust is not naive. It does not ignore danger. It does not mean refusing to prepare. It asks for wisdom in action and for surrender in rest. Prepare what can be prepared. Lock the doors. Set the alarms. Make the calls. Then let the remaining weight be held by a care that does not disappear with the eyelids. Now, before the page closes, I say one true thing aloud in my mind. I am tired enough to accept help. I will let go of what I cannot fix tonight. I will rise again in the morning, or ask for help then. The line is short. It is enough. Repeat it until the shoulders ease. Practice this one last time. Breathe in slowly. Picture a rope of pale light rising from the chest. On the out-breath, place the rope into a basket by the door labeled Trust. Close the lid. Listen to the soft sound. The motion trains the muscles. The body answers by relaxing. The lamp keeps its glow. The book rests. The hands that read will be back tomorrow. For now, set down the satchel. Leave the box on the threshold. Trust the quiet presence that watches while eyes close. Shuwu, closing with comfort and commitment. I lift the Bible a little higher, just enough to let the light touch the words. The lamp keeps a small halo. The house breathes in gentle. Even Reeves. Tonight I close with a short, mindful blessing and a calm promise. This reading is a nightly habit. It is not a performance. It is a steady offering of presence. The voice sits low now. The goal is rest. The aim is mercy. The shape is hope. Before I close the cover, keep the hands soft. Rest one hand over the heart. Feel the steady beat. Let gratitude and trust sit lightly together. They do not cancel each other. They balance. One softens the other. Promise yourself 3 gentle things for the night. Keep them small. First, allow the body to rest without proof of productivity. Second, accept one small kindness if it is offered. Third, wake to one tiny task tomorrow and meet it without the entire day on your shoulders. Say these pledges once in the mind. Speak them with the breath. The voice that reads does not demand perfection. It models a committed gentleness. Commit to the tiny steps. Let each step be honest. Let each rest be real. There is a short ritual to end with. Breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Picture a pale thread of light gathered in the hands. Breathe out and imagine setting the thread as a ring around the room. The ring does not lock anything away. It keeps warmth in and sharpness out for a while. Repeat once more. Let the ring be a small safeguard. I close the Bible with deliberate softness. The cover meets the wood like a quiet promise. The lamp stays lit a moment longer, like a friend standing at the door. The hush of the room is not empty. It holds the story of mercy, read tonight. If sleep comes now, lead it. If wakefulness lingers, return to the breath. Return to the small ritual of placing one worry in the basket by the door. Return to the folded paper and the glass on the nightstand. These small practices become steady anchors over time. Before I leave, take one last breath with me. Inhale calm. Hold for a brief beat. Exhale, release. Feel the hands on the chest. The warmth is real. The presence that watches does not leave when the eyes close. It keeps a steady vigil. I will return with the book and the lamp. The voice will be slow and steady. The pages will turn like soft steps. For now, rest into the simple truth that you are not alone. You are watched in small, practical ways. You are given space to let go. You are invited to trust. One tiny act at a time. Good night. Sleep when it comes. And if morning finds the heart heavy, remember the basket on the threshold. The satchel waits. The day will ask you for one small step. For now, rest. The quiet keeps you. I lift the Bible a final time. The lamp makes a small circle of light. The room breathes slow and steady. My voice is low. The evening leans in like a familiar hand. Sit, easy. Let the weight of the day fall a little. Let the limbs find soft places. The mattress supports. The blanket settles warm across the knees. The hands loosen. The jaw unclenches. Small openings are all that rest needs. I speak simply now. No long words. No arguments. Just calm images and a steady promise. Imagine a wide sky at dawn. Light moves slow across it. A gentle wind rises under your shoulders. It is not harsh. It is quiet and sure. The wind lifts without forcing. It holds without strain. Think of a great bird in that sky. It stretches its wings and rides the air. The bird does not beat frantically. It finds a current and rests upon it. The body knows how to ride such a current. It learns, when the heart lets go of the need, to paddle at every gust. Breath with me. Inhale for 3 soft counts. Hold 1 small beat. Exhale for 4. Feel the air move through the chest like a gentle tide. Each cycle steadies the rhythm. Each cycle makes room for another kind of strength, one that comes without pushing. There are times when strength looks like endurance. There are times when it looks like gentle renewal. Tonight, picture renewal as a warm current under the ribs. It arrives not as a demand, but as a gift. It fills the tired parts with a slow warmth. Muscles that ache begin to loosen. Thoughts that spiral find a pause. If worry tightens, give it a name and set it down. Name one anxious thought. Lay it on the bedside table of the imagination. Notice it. Do not follow it. Leave it there with a quiet promise. This will be tended in morning light. For now, the night will hold repair. I read one last image from the page of that old book. It speaks of rising again. It pictures the weary finding new strength. It pictures lifting like a bird rather than running out of breath. The sense of it is simple when waiting is patient. Power returns. Weakness becomes place for a new kind of strength. Let that thought settle in the chest like a small stone of comfort. Do not force the feeling. Allow it to be a thought. You visit with 3 slow breaths. Each visit nudges the body toward ease. Each breath is a small training. There is mercy in the quiet tonight. Mercy arrives in small acts. A lamp left low. A pillow smoothed. A neighbor's note. A cup placed on a step. These things do not erase difficulty. They become threads softening the edges. Let the memory of such small mercies warm the heart. If regret comes knocking, meet it with a careful hand. Name the regret once. Fold it into the palm of the mind. Turn it gently. Offer a brief phrase, I will repair what I can. I will rest the rest. The phrase is not a law. It is a kind permission. It moves the body from frantic to steady. Hope sits near mercy. Hope is not a loud trumpet. It is a low light kept near the bed. It says that mornings will come. It promises that small acts of care add up over time. Hope keeps watch without demanding immediate proof. I offer a short practice to carry into sleep. Place one hand over the heart. Feel the pulse beneath the palm. Breathe in slow and deep. Imagine that pulse being fed by a pale, steady light. With each inhale, the light grows a little warmer. With each exhale, the grip of the day loosens. Now imagine being gently lifted. The lift is soft. It is like a hand placed at the small of the back to steady a stumble. It is like wind beneath wings. You do not fly away from care. You rise enough to breathe clearer and to move with less fear. If tiredness is heavy, let the images be small and immediate. Feel the blankets. Notice the sound of the house breathing. Hear the lamp's faint hum. These small facts anchor the present. They make the mind less given to long rehearsals of worry. Trust takes form in tiny, practical things. A list folded under glass. A note left by the door. A short call placed in the morning. Trust is not the absence of planning. It is the freedom to plan, and then let the night do its work. Place one small step for tomorrow in the mind. Fold it. Tuck it away. Let the rest sleep. Generosity of heart is part of the same rhythm. Giving and receiving balance one another. When strength returns, small acts of kindness flow outward. For tonight, let receiving be the act. Accept a quiet hand, a warm blanket, the comfort of light. Receiving is not a weakness. It is part of being held. There is a gentle promise that I hold before you now. It is not a loud claim. It is a plain assurance that strength is renewed in patient waiting. Those who wait without forcing often find new wings. The old tiredness does not disappear instantly. Renewal comes in stages. The first is a small easing. The second is steadier breaths. The third is a renewed readiness to meet a new day. Picture that readiness like a lamp on a table by the door. It is small. It is enough to make the next step visible. Each morning, another little step will appear. The steps do not need to be giant. They need only be honest. If fear presses with images of too much to do, shrink the view. Look for the single next thing. Ask what can be done in the next hour. Answer with a small double motion. Do it. Then return to rest. The habit of single, faithful steps lessens the load the mind tries to carry at midnight. Forgiveness threads through this closing. Forgiveness softens the ledger. The mind keeps. It does not erase wrongs. It releases their power to tyrannize the night. Offer one small act of forgiveness in the mind. It may be toward another. It may be toward yourself. Place the act like a coin in the pocket. Let the night hold it safe. I settle the Bible back in my lap. The cover feels familiar. The pages close with a soft, certain sound. The lamp casts a last, steady halo. The voice quiet further, like a tide going out slow. Before I go, promise 3 gentle things for the night. First, allow the body to rest without earning it. Second, accept one small kindness if it is offered tomorrow or tonight. Third, meet one tiny task in the morning without bearing the whole day upon your shoulders. Say them once softly in your mind. Let them sit like a ring of light around the room. The ring is not a lock. It is a shelter of warmth and intention. Sleep does not disappear when the ring is set. It comes more easily. Now a few slow breaths together. Inhale calm. Hold. Exhale, release. Repeat twice more. With each breath, feel the warmth of the back of the neck. Feel the ribs soften. Notice the steady beat in the chest. The presence that watches is quiet and sure. It will not vanish when the eyelids close. I draw near one last time in thought. I offer a simple blessing of rest. May strength return where it is thin. May hope settle in the places of worry. May mercy find the tired parts and mend them softly. May the night be a gentle keeper of what cannot be fixed until morning. When you wake, meet the day with that small courage. Keep the folded list if it helps. Keep the basket by the door in the imagination. Take the first honest step. The rest will follow in time. For now, let the room be still. Let the lamp burn low. Let the breath keep patient time. Let sleep come in its timing. The promise of renewed strength waits like a kind hand under the shoulder. Rest into that hand. Rest under wings that do not tire. Good night. Sleep in comfort. Awake in renewed strength. The care that watches does not go away. It keeps its steady promise. Rest now and be held